What happens when Invincible's strongest villain faces off against the biggest threats in the MonsterVerse? Omni-Man has conquered planets, but some of these titans might actually make him pause. By the end of this video, you'll know which kaiju, if any, could actually challenge the most violent dad in animation. If you've ever asked, could a titan survive Omni-Man's punches? Hit that subscribe button, drop a comment with the next matchup you want to see, and smash that like button harder than Kong smashed a Skullcrawler. Let's start with the MonsterVerse's favorite bone-white nightmare noodle, the Skullcrawler. Kong struggled to fight one in Skull Island, and he's got the home field advantage and biceps the size of trucks. So how does this oversized gecko fare against the Viltrumite? Not great, folks. Not great. Omni-Man wouldn't even be scared. He wouldn't even dodge. The Skullcrawler would lunge, only for Nolan to casually grab it by the jaw and snap it like a glow stick. Even if it brought friends, Omni-Man's idea of crowd control is slamming through all of them like a bowling ball made of trauma. Alright, let's scale things up a bit. Literally. King Ghidorah isn't just a titan. He's a full-blown alien apex predator with 3 hands, 2 tails, wings the size of stadiums, and a god complex so big it needs its own zip code. The man shows up, screams, and suddenly your power grid's toast and it's raining sideways. Ghidorah takes nukes to the face and shrugs. He goes 1v1 with Godzilla and actually wins, until plot armor kicks in, obviously. So could he handle Omni-Man? This would actually be a good fight, but Omni-Man's no slouch. He can fly through planets, reacts faster than lightning, and has literally ripped creatures in half mid-sentence. At best, Ghidorah might tag him once, before Omni-Man grabs one head, uses it to beat the others, and pile drives the whole dragon into the Mariana Trench. The verdict? Ghidorah makes him bleed, then Omni-Man makes him extinct. Let's talk about the MonsterVerse's most relatable titan, Kong. In Godzilla vs. Kong, The New Empire, Kong proves he's not just a brute. He's tactical. He sets traps, dual wields, and adapts mid-fight. He's got heart, brains, and enough jaw strength to rip skull crushers in half like wet paper towels. But Omni-Man doesn't do fair fights. The second Kong lands a hit, Nolan goes full Mortal Kombat, ripping off arms, caving skulls, flying Kong into orbit, and then dropping him from space just to see what noise he makes when he lands. The verdict? Kong gets a hit in, maybe 2, then Omni-Man shows him who really runs Hollow Earth, from 6 feet under it. It's time we talk about the OG nightmare from Godzilla 2014. The MUTOs, or as they're officially called, massive unidentified terrestrial organisms. But don't let the bureaucratic name fool you. These things aren't unidentified because we haven't figured them out. They're unidentified because no one survives long enough to write a report. Let's focus on the female MUTO. She's the real powerhouse of the pair. This 300-foot tall walking extinction event doesn't breathe fire or have laser beams. Instead, she's armed with something arguably scarier, an electromagnetic pulse that fries everything with a circuit. Military jets? Toast. Drones? Down. Communications? Gone. She basically turns modern civilization into the Stone Age with every stomp. And let's not forget her durability. She survives missiles, tank shells, and full-on Godzilla rage for a good chunk of the movie. So here's the hypothetical. Omni-Man's flying over a major city when the lights go out. Power's dead. Phones are bricked, and the air suddenly cracks with radiation. And then he sees it. The hulking silhouette of the female MUTO marching through smoke and sirens. From a distance, he's not impressed, but as he gets closer, her EMP knocks his smartwatch offline, maybe even interferes with his internal sense of balance for a second. She screeches, charges, and swings a forelimb the size of a semi-truck straight at him. EMPs are scary for us, but for a Viltrumite, it's like throwing a toaster at a rhino. The only complication is the MUTO armor. Her body can shrug off missiles, which means Omni-Man might not one-shot her, but 2 shots, 3, he's more durable than anything she's ever faced, and a lot faster. She wouldn't be able to land a second hit before he started dismantling her like a high-tech IKEA set. And the flying MUTO? Don't even bring him up. That thing would be splattered across the nearest mountain like a bug on a windshield the moment it tried to dive in. The verdict? The MUTOs might have wrecked our cities and made Godzilla sweat, but Omni-Man doesn't sweat. EMPs and claws mean nothing when you're dealing with a living warhead in a cape. If Godzilla is the king, then Mothra is the queen. And not just any queen. More like a glowing, winged goddess who slaps with the grace of a ballerina and the lethality of a precision airstrike. In King of the Monsters, Mothra is introduced with a reverence. She hatches from a cocoon the size of a sports arena, immediately blasting her surroundings with bioluminescent power and divine energy like she just spawned in from a sacred anime. And unlike the other titans who bulldoze through cities like rage monsters, Mothra glides, stabs, blinds, and heals, often in the same scene. But don't let the sparkles fool you. This is not just a pretty face. Mothra's wings are razor sharp. In her fight against Rodan, she dodges a literal firebird mid-air and impales him clean through the chest with a stinger. If that doesn't scream deadly fairy, I don't know what does. But now imagine she goes one-on-one with Omni-Man. At first glance, she might have some things going for her. Maybe she even manages to nick Omni-Man with a stinger. Maybe. But here's the problem. Nolan doesn't fight fair. While Mothra's weaving and fluttering and trying to stab him like some kind of flying paladin, he's already thrown a building at her, or zipped behind her at Mach 8 and crushed her thorax with one backhand. He's dealt with world-ending weapons before. This would just be Tuesday. The verdict? Mothra's grace, power, and loyalty make her one of the most beloved titans. But loyalty doesn't win fights. Omni-Man wouldn't even need to go all out. One punch, one wing tear, or one trip into the upper stratosphere, and this divine moth becomes divine glitter. Behemoth doesn't get a ton of screen time in King of the Monsters, but when he shows up, you feel it. This massive, tusked titan stomps out of the jungle like a living monument to prehistoric violence, covered in shaggy fur, dragging massive arms like tree trunks, and topped with curved tusks big enough to impale a skyscraper. Behemoth has a unique ability to terraform and regenerate ecosystems by simply existing. Forests sprout out of his footsteps, the environment heals as he walks, so he's not just destructive, he's restorative. Basically a walking national park that can knock over buildings if you annoy him. But we're not here to admire nature documentaries. We're here to see if this nature deity can survive a Viltrumite beatdown. Let's imagine Behemoth rampaging through a city, bringing nature back one crumbling parking garage at a time. Omni-Man drops from the sky, annoyed that someone's turned downtown into a jungle gym. Behemoth charges, swinging one of his arms like a wrecking crane, and bellowing loud enough to shatter glass. Omni-Man doesn't dodge. He flies straight through Behemoth's shoulder like a bullet through drywall. Here's the thing, Behemoth may be powerful by Titan standards, but he doesn't have energy blasts, wings, or even ranged attacks. He's a melee brawler who relies on overwhelming mass, which works great against tanks and buildings, but not against an alien warrior who can fly faster than sound and punch harder than nukes. Sure, Behemoth might land a hit if he gets lucky, maybe he tosses Omni-Man into a building, but that's not damage, that's just foreplay. The moment Omni-Man decides to end it, it's over. The verdict? Behemoth is a gentle giant until provoked, but Omni-Man isn't looking for a nature walk. He's bringing extinction level power to the fight, and this mammoth doesn't stand a chance. Think of it as logging, except the chainsaw moves at Mach 3 and doesn't stop until the forest is on fire. If there's any titan in the MonsterVerse that can give Omni-Man a genuine uh-oh moment, it's Shimo, the frost-covered behemoth introduced in the new Empire. Towering, armored, and colder than Omni-Man's parenting style, Shimo isn't just another titan. She's a force of nature, and one of the deadliest creatures in the entire Hollow Earth. From the moment she shows up on screen, Shimo radiates do not engage energy. Her entire body is built like living glacier armor, complete with jagged ice spikes, bone-chilling breath, and enough raw power to freeze entire battlefields in seconds. Her ice isn't just cold, it's primordial. We're talking Hollow Earth cryo magic that flash freezes titans mid-roar. When she stomps, the ground doesn't just shake, it shatters. Now let's drop Omni-Man into this frozen hellscape. He flies in hot, literally. Fists raised, heat trailing behind him. Shimo reacts instantly, unleashing a cone of sub-zero death that would turn a volcano into a snow globe. For a split second, Omni-Man slows down. Ice crusts over his cape, his skin frosts, and for the first time in this entire video, he hesitates. Because Shimo's cold doesn't just sting, it seeps. It's ancient, elemental. Even Viltrumite muscle starts to feel sluggish when cells are flash frozen, and Shimo doesn't stop. She slams her tail into the mountainside, sending shards of frozen rock flying like missiles. Then she charges, maw glowing with ice energy, and bites down on Nolan like she's trying to crack open the last pistachio on Earth. But here's the twist, Omni-Man doesn't break. He erupts. With a roar, he superheats his core through sheer force of will. His body pulsing with Viltrumite rage, Shimo bites harder. He punches through her jaw. She hurls him across the frozen valley. He vaporizes that valley on impact. This isn't a one-side massacre, it's kind of a battle, and this might be the first time Omni-Man has to try. But in the end, physics still picks a side. Shimo is a walking natural disaster, but Nolan is a tactical, intelligent, and definitely more agile fighter. The second he closes the gap, dodging a beam of frost and slamming into her skull with a supersonic punch, it's over. Shimo crashes into the ground, the ice around her crumbling, breath weak and slow. She's not dead, but she's done. The verdict? Shimo makes Omni-Man bleed, metaphorically and maybe even literally. But with her elemental dominance, she's still bound by biology. Omni-Man, he's a precision-guided extinction event. Shimo was close, but close only counts in horseshoes, hand grenades, and Hollow Earth avalanches. The biggest, meanest titans the MonsterVerse has to offer. And not a single one managed to take Omni-Man down for good. Some got close, Shimo definitely made him sweat, but in the end of the day, it turns out planetary genocide experience kinda trumps kaiju muscle. Because here's the truth, these titans are forces of nature, but Omni-Man, he is nature's upgrade. Let me know in the comments, which titan do you think would have actually won? Did I miss one that could have body slammed Nolan into the core of the earth? Smash that like button faster than Rodan flying through a fighter jet, subscribe for more cinematic carnage, and I'll see you in the next battle. Because remember, you're not built different, you're built extinct.